To the programme, we have some breaking news coming out of Ukraine, where officials say that a minerals deal has been reached with the United States in an attempt to improve relations with the Trump administration. Let's go straight to our two correspondents who are following developments for us. One is in Ukraine, Charles Strafford, and we have Alan Fisher in the United States. Let's turn to Charles first. Charles, what are you hearing coming from Ukrainian officials about this deal?
Well, so far, according to the Reuters news agency, the agency is signing officials as saying that Ukraine's cabinet is expected to recommend the minerals deal to be signed on Wednesday. We have very little reaction other than that so far from the Ukrainians. But of course, this is hugely significant because certainly according to the Ukrainians that we've been speaking to all week, this is seen as being a means that Donald Trump can basically get what he wants. Zelensky initially, the initial draft deal was thrown back at the Americans by the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky saying that it didn't have enough security guarantees. There has been, we understand, as one can imagine, significant additional pressure since then, and that includes the kind of insults that President Trump has thrown at Zelensky, calling him a dictator, implying that Ukraine was responsible for starting the war. So this is of huge significance that seemingly, certainly according to these reports that we're getting, that the Ukrainians have been persuaded to turn around. But it is of huge significance also in relation to Europe. We saw Macron, the French president, in Washington last night speaking to the US President Donald Trump, and he indeed said that he saw this potential deal with the US looking at harvesting effectively up to 50%, we understand, of Ukraine's minerals and rare earth materials. The timescale is as yet unclear. Macron himself endorsed this plan. He saw it as being something that was significant, that could potentially lead to some sort of the beginnings of true peace negotiations. So, as I say, of huge significance, and we are waiting for more details as they appear in Kiev this evening. But as I say, it is very late. And it is inconceivable, really, that we'll be seeing much reaction this evening.
OK, for now, thank you. Charles Strafford there for us in Kyiv. Let's bring in Alan Fisher. He's in Washington, D.C. Alan, there have been several versions of this deal proposed by the United States. All have been rejected. Now it appears this version has been accepted by Ukraine. That's what we're hearing from Ukrainian officials, but still no confirmation coming from the United States. What are you hearing?
No, we're getting no confirmation, as you say. Exactly as you said, there is no confirmation from American sources. We know that Donald Trump had suggested that Vladimir Zelensky would be heading to the White House at some point either this week or next week to sign a deal. We don't know any dates on that. Nothing has been confirmed. We know that the United States wanted 100% of the rare earth minerals from Ukraine. That was obviously rejected by the Ukrainians, and that's what led to a great deal of anger between the two sides. But there were still negotiations going on. What appears to have been agreed is that the United States will get 50% after Ukraine takes out $500 billion to try and improve the economy. In some of the drafts that are circulating, and there are various drafts that are, one of the key sentences keeps repeating, which is the US government intends to provide long-term financial commitment to develop a stable and economically prosperous Ukraine, which suggests that whatever happens, this is tying the US into the Ukraine for a significant period of time. What appears to be missing are any security guarantees. This is all financial. This is what they're talking about. And the reason the US wants to do a deal like this. First of all, Donald Trump believes that the US is owed somewhere in the region of $350 billion for the money that's been provided to help Ukraine fight this war. Even the US government's own Ukraine monitoring group says it's much closer to $150, $160 billion. Vladimir Zelensky says they were grants, not loans, so they're under no obligation to pay money back. But perhaps more importantly from the US, 5% of the world's rare earth minerals are in Ukraine. We're talking about graphite, and we're also talking about lithium. Very important in the modern economy. And of course, that would help take China out of the supply chain, something that Donald Trump has been keen to do. But we should, of course, wrap all this up by saying this is all speculation at the moment. There is no firm confirmation from either side that this deal has been done, although it appears both sides are inching closer.
OK, many thanks for that, Alan Fisher, there for us in Washington, D.C.